Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Makabodash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today I just want to go into this article, and it's from the New York Times, and it says, a poisonous Cold War legacy that defies a solution. So I'm just going to read this article, and then we'll bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And it says, a $528 billion plan to clean up 54 million gallons of radioactive bomb-making waste may never be achieved. Government negotiators are looking for a compromise. And it says, from 1950 to 1990, the U.S. Energy Department produced an average of 4 nuclear bombs every day, turning them out of hastily built factories with few environmental safeguards that left behind a vast legacy of toxic radioactive waste. Nowhere were the problems greater than at the Hanford site in Washington state, where engineers sent to clean up the mess after the Cold War discovered 54 million gallons of highly radioactive sludge left from producing the plutonium in America's atomic bombs, including the one dropped on the Japanese city of Nagasaki. Slovakia. Cleaning out the underground tanks that were leaching out poisonous waste toward the Columbia River just 6 miles away, and somehow stabilizing it for permanent disposal presented one of the most complex chemical problems ever encountered. Engineers thought they had solved it years ago with an elaborate plan to pump out the sludge embedded in glass and dispose of it in the deep mountains of the Nevada desert. It says, but construction of a 5-story, 137,000 square foot chemical treatment plant for the task was halted in 2012 after an expenditure of $4 billion when it was found to be riddled with safety defects. The naked superstructure of the plant has stood in mothballs for 11 years, a potent symbol of the nation's failure nearly 80 years after the Second World War to deal decisively with the atomic area's deadliest legacy. The cleanup at Hanford is now at an inflection point. The Energy Department has been in closed-door negotiations with state officials and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, trying to revamp the plan, but many fear the most likely compromises, which could be announced in the coming months, will put the speed and quality of the cleanup at risk. The government now appears to be seriously considering whether it will be necessary to leave thousands of gallons of leftover waste buried forever in Hanford's shallow underground tanks. According to some of those familiar with the negotiations, and protect some of the waste not in penetrable glass but in concrete grout casing that would almost certainly decay thousands of years later before toxic materials that it is designed to hold at bay. So, as you can see, from the photos, a plant that was supposed to be built to help dispose of it. And it says the Energy Department is coming to a big crossroads, said Thomas Grumbly, a former assistant secretary at the department who oversaw the early days of the project during the Clinton administration. Successive energy secretaries over the last 30 years, he said, have slammed their heads against the wall to come up with a technology and budget that would make the problem go away, not only for Hanford, but also at other nuclear weapon sites around the country, plants in South Carolina, Washington, Ohio, and Idaho that have produced more than 60,000 atomic bombs have tons of radioactive debris. Slovakia. They have tons of radioactive debris that will be radioactive for thousands of years, unlike nuclear power plants whose waste consists of dry uranium pellets locked away in metal tubes. The weapons facilities are dealing with millions of gallons of peanut butter-like sludge stored in aging underground tanks. I'm going to read a little bit more, and it says 2 million pounds of mercury remain in the soils and waters of eastern Tennessee. Radioactive plumes are contaminating the Great Miami Aquifer near Cincinnati. At site after site, the solution has come down to a choice between an expensive, decades-long cleanup or a quicker action that leaves a large amount of waste in place. Hanford has some 580 square miles of shrub steppe desert in south central Washington state. It is the largest and most contaminated of all the nuclear weapons production sites, too polluted to ever be returned to public use. But the problem is urgent. Given the risk of radionuclides contaminating the Columbia River, a vital lifeline for cities, farms, tribes, and wildlife in 2 states. The search for a solution has dragged on so long that there is pressure to produce some result for all the massive spending, even if it does not meet past expectations, that it can mark a dramatic retreat from long-standing promises to nearby residents who experience thyroid, reproductive, and nervous system tumors linked by researchers to exposure during the era of plutonium production, that the government would adhere to the highest possible cleanup standards. Slovakia, that's all I'm going to read, pretty much this man has to come, he has to be destroyed, because again, as I read in this article, they have 54 million gallons of radioactive waste, sitting in underground tanks, and they haven't came up with a solution to get rid of it, and clearly it's affecting, the environment that it's in, So I'm just gonna bring out the scriptures. I'm gonna start in the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24, and it says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he?" And yes, the wicked being Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, because he's the only, nation of people that create these nuclear weapons. Now, you do have an exception. You do have other countries that have nuclear capabilities, but, Esau, that was his blessing. His blessing was the sword, So, I'm going to jump to the book of Revelation, chapter 6, and verse 4. And it says, and another went out, Slakia, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat upon Slakia. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And yes, that red horse is talking about Esau Edom. Because he did take peace away from the earth. Is hell in this man's system, because ever since this man has came into power, it's been nothing but wars, So I'm gonna jump to the book of Psalms, chapter 64. Verse 8. And it says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And yes, pretty much, again, that article being brought out, that's Esau Edom telling on himself, because again, there's people being affected by, that radioactive sludge being left there, again, as I read, people had tumors, and then it's even affecting, the water, the river, this man is polluting the earth, he's destroying the earth, hence the reason why this man has to be taken out of power, because if he doesn't, no flesh is going to remain, So I'm going to go to the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 10, and it says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. And yes, Esau Edom is the thief. And that's what he does. He steals, he kills, and he destroys. And right now, he is destroying the earth. And that is just one of many examples of how he's destroying the earth. He's leaving this radioactive waste underground instead of trying to come up with a solution to clean it up. But again, that's what he is. He is the wicked. So that's why, this man, has to be taken out. And that's why the judgment that he's going to receive is going to be great, Now we're going to go to the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 6. And it says, how are the hidden things? It's like, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought out? And yes, Esau Edom's wickedness is being put out on the forefront, and this is just, again, one of many examples of the wicked things that he does, He's leaving this waste underground, and it says 54 million gallons in that particular site, that they're talking about is where they, excuse me, Slakia, is where they created, the atomic bomb, Fat Man, the Little Boy, or whichever one of those, that was dropped on Nagasaki, they created those particular atomic bombs at that site, and again, it's been going from 1950 to 1990, that's 40 years that they've been producing nuclear weapons at that particular site, and, nothing has been done to try to clean it up, So I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51. I'm going to start at verse 25. And it says, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyeth all the earth. And I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee, neither Slakia, and they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor for a stone of foundations, but thou should be desolate forever, saith the Lord. And yes, once America gets destroyed, no one will inhabit this land. And Esau, Edom, will never come back into power, because once this man taken down, he's going into captivity, and he's going to remain in the captivity for 1,000 years, then he's going to be wiped out, because again, this man is destroying the entire earth. Because again, that's one reason why, the missiles have to come, because those missiles not only are going to be used to judge the wicked, these other nations into 2/3, they're also going to be used to cleanse the earth as well, to undo the damage that Esau has done. I'm going to go to the book of Psalms, chapter 137, and verse 7, and it says, Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, Raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee, as thou hast served us, and happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. And yes, Esau, Edom is going to get paid back for all the wickedness that he has done upon the earth, primarily to the children of Israel, And again, just like it says in verse 8, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, and America is, America is going to be destroyed, and this place deserves it, more and more every day. This place gets wicked, these people are getting worse. So, the Lord has to speed up the time, and hence the reason why, time has been speeding up. It's going to be June tomorrow. But, this is just why Esau has to go. I'm going to wrap it up soon. And again, also jumping back to the book of Revelation. Because again, they talked about how he pretty much, created those nuclear weapons. There's the book of there's the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 13, and it says, And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And yes, again, Esau, Edom pretty much, when he dropped those nuclear bombs, those atomic bombs on Japan, that was him, making fire to come down from heaven. He also has these fighter jets, that can launch missiles as well, And again, this was Esau, Edom's blessing. The sword, of course, is the modern day gun, but it's this weaponry, that he has in general, primarily these nuclear weapons, Because the same way he came into power is the same way he's going to be taken out of power. And I'm going to end it on this. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, and I'm going to start at verse 10, and it says, All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? And yes, that's what's going to happen once Esau Edom is taken out of power. These other nations are going to look at him, with astonishment, like, this is the man that pretty much had the whole earth in fear, because of those nuclear weapons that he had, But once he is taken down and he's brought into captivities, along with the other nations are going to be in captivity as well, All nations of people that done wrong to the nation of Israel are going to serve captivity for 1,000 years, But Esau Edom is the only nation that is not only going to serve captivity for 1,000 years, but they're going to be, wiped out as well, Now, that's pretty much, the judgment that he's going to receive. Now, what will happen to his spirit, only time will tell. But that's Esau's judgment. And, rightfully so. And just from the article that I read alone, explains why this man needs to be taken out, because he's destroying the earth. The earth is polluted. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I say Shalom.